Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lost Boyz Podcast, episode 39, continuing from where we left off in the previous episode and the one before that. So if you haven't watched those, make sure to watch it because this is a continuance, a sequence, I guess, to those. So today we're going to be talking about setting up the first date, the actual first date and afterwards, and just like how to navigate through that and all of that stuff. For context, if you haven't watched the other ones, again, I recommend you go back and watch them. We talked about first the approach, actually going up to the girl, talking to the girl, then getting the number or
what to say, what not to say.
Yeah, things to say, things not to say. And then now we're going into, okay, now you got the number. How do you set up getting that first date and so on and so forth. So you got it.
Once we're done with this, I'll put them into a little playlist so we can actually have a playlist on the page.
But get nice and organized.
Yeah. I feel like maybe that's what I'll do on the plane tomorrow. Like, just go and while I'm there, just take a note of like all the different categories that we've done and just start bunching them up.
Yeah.
Get a little more organized. We're almost a year in.
Yep. I'll tell you what I'll be doing on that plane. Right, the minute they pull out the seatbelt to do the safety, I'll be like this.
Now, the last time I remember, I was so tight. This is so off topic. Y'all don't even know
we
about
went
this.
extremely off topic, but we'll get right back to it.
Yo, our train of thought didn't even start, and we already went up. But I remember, I forgot what it was for. Oh, it was coming back for the bachelor trip, I think it was. And I was so tired, right? Whatever. We sit down. I knock out, right? We haven't even left the gate yet. People are still walking on the plane, and I knock out, right? Bro, I had like 17 dreams, greatest sleep of my life. I woke up, we were still on the tarmac. And I couldn't fathom how much time I spent asleep, but it was really only I was at least an hour, but we were like delayed and shit. Yeah, I remember waking up so fucking confused. I looked around, I was like, what is happening right now?
I've had that happen to me before. It also sucks because then you're up the rest of the flight.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, to bring it back to on topic, setting up that first date. So you got the girl's number. Actually, before we even get into that, let's say you went the Instagram route, right?
Yep.
And you slide in the DMs, you talking to her. Before, I would say try not to set up the date through the DMs. Try to get the number from the DMs, take it to text, get a few texts in, keep it somewhat brief, and then shoot for the first date.
I was going to say, use the DM to build the rapport and the comfort. Get the number, and in the number be like, let's set up this date, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So now you got the number. You want to go take her on a date. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to ask, whatever. So word of advice from me, this is how I do it. I don't ask the person to hang out. I just suggest that we hang out or tell them that we're going to hang out.
Yeah.
I never ask because then it kind of comes off as like, I don't know if it does or not to women, but the way I see it is like it comes off as a lack of confidence because like you're putting everything on them and they don't want that. They want you to be the person. You want to go out with them, right? So you have to take initiative and do the things necessary to do just that. So if you're asking them to take them out, which can be respectful, yes, I understand that part, but I just feel like it can also bite you in the ass at the same time. So what I like to do is I'm texting the girl, whatever, oh, cool, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's hang out sometime. When are you available? Or when are you usually available? That's the route I go. I hit them with that. I usually go, let's hang out sometime soon. When are you usually available? Oh, I'm usually available on the weekends this day. All right, cool. If you know already, or if you don't, or what I would do is I would be like, all right, cool. I'll wait till the time gets closer. So I'll be like, once we get a little closer to the weekend, I hit you up, let you know for sure, like if I have time or not, because sometimes things come up. That's the route I go. You can also, it also depends. Sometimes depending on the conversation, how it's going, I'll be a little bit more like bold and upfront. I'll just be like, we're hanging out this day at this time. I'll say we're hanging out this day. I'll pick you up at this time. That's another thing I do too. But I never ask, oh, like,
can I take you out?
Yeah, can I take you out? Or can we hang out sometime? Like, anything like that. Because in the grand scheme of things, like, I agree too. It is more gentleman-like. It is more, like, courteous. But I just feel like the response rate from me saying, let's hang out sometime soon, when are you available? Or I'll pick you up this day at this time, the response to that is far greater than than all the times I've ever said, oh, like, can I take you out or something like that? Because then, I don't know, I feel like it gives off a certain image that then it ends up biting me in the ass in the long run, which is weird and confusing to say, but in my personal experience, that's how it's been. So when I'm more taking initiative and more taking control of the situation, they're more accepting and they receive it better.
That I agree. Like similarly to you, I do the similar thing where I don't really ask, and I'll explain why I don't believe you should ask to take them out. I just say sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Like, when are you usually free? Something similar. Be like, oh, what does your schedule usually look like, or what does your schedule look like? Oh, I'm off Wednesdays and Sundays, right? Which it can be a whole conversation. I like Sunday dates, but
Yeah.
that I think could be very geographical based. But anyways, all right. So now you know Wednesdays and Sundays. This is where you don't ask, is this okay? Just be like, all right, you asked, when are you free? Wednesday? We're going to do, all right, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, I'm going to pick you up. And tell them how to dress. Because you want to be assertive, but they need to understand what's going to happen. Because you can't just say, I'm going to pick you up Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Well, do I wear jeans? Do I wear a dress? Like, things like that. Like, you want to give them clear instructions in a sense of they're going to follow what you tell them to follow. If you leave too much room for lack of understanding, girls are going to lose interest.
Yeah.
It's very easy for girls to lose
or they'll
interest.
flake.
Yeah.
For that reason.
There's not enough like skin in the game, so to say.
Yeah.
But I want to say the reason why I don't believe you really asked to take a girl out is because it's like a little kid, right? A little kid wants to eat a cookie. A little kid goes to the adult, hey, can I have a cookie, right? Because the little kid knows that you have authority over them. They operate within your judgment, within what you see fit. And whenever you do that with a girl, you're telling her, hey, listen, you're on the pedestal. I look up to you. Like, you're submissive to them. And that, to avoid a wild conversation, is a position you never want to be in. Because she won't respect you the same way. Like, but on the flip side of that, you tell her, like, all right, cool, you're free Wednesday, Sunday. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, you could wear jeans. I'm going to pick you up, right? Totally cool. It's very, all right, like, ooh, wait, jeans? Ooh, I wonder what's going to happen now. Like, if you put a woman in the position to follow, she will.
Yeah. That's actually a good point because I've never done that. Like, tell the girl, like, oh, dress this way. I might have to try that out.
It's worked for me.
Yeah. Usually what happens is sometimes the girl will be like, okay, and just trust my judgment as to what we're going to do and won't ask any questions. And
I like that.
Yeah. And then sometimes they're like, okay, like, what are we doing? Like, what's the plan? Or where are we going? And this is another mistake a lot of people make is they'll ask like, oh, what do you want to do? Absolutely never do that ever. That's 100% not the way to go. If you're asking her to go out or hang out, have a plan and have a backup plan if that plan doesn't work. Have a plan. When she asks, what are we doing? Have an answer. Don't say, oh, we might go do this. No, we're going to go do this. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Have an answer. So if you're not sure of where to go yet, then don't just ask right away.
Yeah.
Especially if you're texting, then just wait a little bit, figure it out. Oh, I might do this. I might do that. All right, I think I'm going to go with this. All right, cool. When are you available? Oh, let's hang out soon, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what are we doing? Oh, we're going to be doing this. Okay, cool. That's it. It's just for them to know too, right? Like you said, they want to know how to dress. They want to know where they're going to be, what the environment's going to be like. They want to make sure, they're going to be safe too.
Mm-hmm.
So never, ever, ever, ever ask the girl, what do you want to do? 100% no. You want to lead. Like, as a man, and some people might not like this, but as a man, I know we are meant to lead.
Mm-hmm.
A woman doesn't come to us to lead us. They want us to take lead and lead them. So if I'm telling them we're going to go do something or let's go do something, and they ask me, what are we doing? And I ask them, oh, what do you want to do? And they're going to be like, why the hell did you just ask me if I want to do this? I thought you had a plan.
Yeah.
Why are you leaving it up to me to decide? You're the one that wants to take me out. I'm not asking you to take you out, you know? So lead by example.
To go a little deeper onto that too, as a man, you're supposed to be the problem solver. Like, you know the term, like the man with the plan? Yeah, that's supposed to be you. And we don't have a plan for everything, but when it comes to you're trying to bring a girl into your sphere, you have to have a plan, because then imagine if from her perspective, if you don't have a plan, what is that going to look like? Oh, he's very scattered, he's unorganized, he can't directly solve a problem. And the reason why that is tied to problem solving is because you, in that date, you are the chain of command. If you can't just bridge getting her and to do something fun together, then it's like, all right, then he can't really, if something happens, he can't think of a solution like that. Mm-hmm. And I realized just throughout one experience and two, just observing, when a woman can tell that you can solve problems, it's a very, very attractive feature, so to say. I don't know if feature is the right term, or it's a trait. It's a very attractive trait, because it's like, all right, if we get into something, he can get us out.
Yeah, exactly.
There needs to be a level of security, of like protection and safety when you're dealing with a woman. So if you go on a date and you're like, shit's gonna happen. Expect to go on a date and shit happens. I remember I was going on a date one time, way back before I learned, and the restaurant closed that day, right? And then it was like, oh shit, I didn't know what the fuck to do from there, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, kind of just, this is where like the birth of walking dates came from, by the way.
Yep, but which we'll get into.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. But anywho, you need to be able to solve problems and be direct and have a clear plan. A clear plan will get followed. Mm-hmm. And part of a plan is knowing what to do when the plan doesn't fucking work.
Yeah. And it's like exactly like you said. Even if you're not that person, it gives off that vibe that like, okay, he can protect me. Yep. I can feel safe around him. If something happens when we're out, I know that he's gonna be diligent enough to get, like you said, get us out the situation, or do his best for us to make it out, if that were to ever happen. If you're shaky with what you're gonna do, or why you're doing what you're, like anything, if you're shaky about your decisions or questioning your decisions, then it's gonna show that you question yourself. You have a lack of confidence.
Yep.
You don't trust yourself. You're an incomplete man. In other words, you don't know how to direct a situation. You don't know how to take command of a situation. You're not a leader. You're just a follower. No one wants to be with the follower.
That's true.
It's very unattractive to be with somebody who's a follower. Doesn't matter what gender you are, what sex you are, whatever the case may be. No one wants to be with somebody who's unsure of themselves. They want to be with somebody who, if not complete, has a solid blueprint to becoming complete. So that's a big reason why I say never ask, just tell. Just tell them, okay, this is what we're going to do. I was going to say something. I just forgot. You have anything you want to say?
Yeah, there's a few things I can say. So it also, you're going to hear this a lot in this series or whatever this ends up becoming.
Oh, so I just remember what I was going to say. I was going to give an example that happened to me recently. I was on a date with a girl. Well, I picked up a girl. I told her what we were going to do. As I was driving there, she lived nearby to it, but whatever. I knew the area too. I didn't realize that on this day they closed earlier. So on the way there, she was like, I think they close in like 30 minutes. I was like, nah, no way. So I pulled over. I looked it up. I was like, oh, snap. They do close in 30 minutes. And instead of just be like, oh, my God, like, I'm so sorry, I just laughed. I was like, damn, my bad. I was like, all right, like, F it. I know what we're going to do. And I just went to the next spot. Like, I didn't ask, nothing. I just started driving to the very next spot. I didn't go with the mindset like this is my backup plan. Just in the moment, I just came up with it and I just went and did it. Obviously, that comes from going on dates a lot. So then you have more places to go. You have more ideas. But having that backup plan saved me. And she even said, she was like, oh, I like that you always know what to do. Like she outwardly said that, and I started laughing. I was like, "Why? What, am I supposed to be unsure?" And then she started laughing. She was like, "I was like, I get." Like she didn't know how to respond to it because in her experiences, which she said, a lot of times guys are unsure of like what to do. Like even when I first asked her, like, "Oh," like not asked, when I told her like, let's go hang out, whatever. She asked, "What are we gonna do?" I gave the response right away. She was like, "Oh, I'm surprised. Most people don't know."
Yeah.
Whatever. And I was like, damn, I don't know what guys you're talking to then. But that just goes to show that a girl finds that very attractive. A woman will find that very attractive. The fact that you have a plan, and if things don't go that way, there's a backup. There's you find a way to make the day enjoyable still without just being like, oh, and then being so apologetic and things like that. It's just like, all right, cool. This went down. Calm, cool. All right, cool. On to the next thing. Boom. That's it.
Yeah. Like, it's having a backup plan is something that will take very minimal work. You won't lose anything for doing it, but you will gain everything for doing it.
Yeah.
It's literally just a win-win for you. What I did want to say was something you mentioned before, like, even if you're like not that kind of person that has all the answers and X, Y, and Z, just act like you are.
Exactly.
Trust me. Like, I'll be straight up, I wasn't always the most confident guy when it came to girls. I wasn't always I knew exactly what to do at all times. I built that shit up literally from, it all started by, well, one, getting smarter, too, but that's a whole different episode, things you can do to improve yourself. But it all started from, let me act like I am. Like, let me act like I'm that confident motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're not acting no more.
It's just who you become.
Yeah, it's literally who you become. That's why your thoughts are so important. But I did want to say on the date conversation, the way you said enjoyable, right? That's so fucking important because you got to think about it. The goal of the date with a girl or a woman, at the end of the day, you want to give her an experience. If your date with her is an experience, you won. A good one. Hold on, wait. A good experience.
Yeah.
Because you can also be remembered for very bad shit. But now you give her a good experience, even if nothing crazy happens. Even if you don't take her to like a fucking a wild restaurant or anything like that, which I don't think you should. But if you give her a good time, something she enjoys, especially, this is like big tip here, especially if it's something it'll be her first time doing, all the more like power to you. Like, it's just gonna start things in your favor.
Yeah.
Like, if a girl's never been hatchet throwing,
I've actually done that before.
Really?
Not on the first day, but like the second or third day, I've done that. It was actually really cool.
I need to ask your experience. I've never done it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Literally just
pretty cool. You get competitive,
huh?
and you could like it's BYOB, so you could bring wine or beer, bro, a bottle of wine, sipping, start talking shit, made for a good time.
See, but that was off the top, and I'm so glad you said that because look, even something like that, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna get a little competitive, right? You're gonna have some drinks, like you said. You're gonna show when you get competitive with a girl on a date, but you can still keep that playful manner.
Yeah, it's like a cool competitive.
Yeah.
It's not like, and talking shit is like a cool talking shit.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm a fucking trash shit. No,
Yeah.
it's not like that. It's just like, she makes him say like, oh, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like messing with her, basically.
Like, it's gonna show like you're getting to the not the I'm better than you, but like the I'm better than you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's gonna bring out emotions out of her. And you want girls to have an emotion about the date.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah. A good one,
Yeah.
right? Like, you don't want her to get tight. Like,
No.
Like, come on. Like, this is just common sense at that point. But you want her to have, like, emotions in the sense of, like, oh, my God, like, yo, like, I'm actually having a really good time. I've had a girl tell me that on a date where we were literally doing nothing. She was like, I'm having such a good time right now, actually. Like,
Yeah, I've had that happen too, and we were just walking.
yeah. Yo, my favorite fucking day, bro. Fucking...
But no, yeah, definitely want to have like a good experience, things like that. Again, you also don't have to go above and beyond. Like,
yeah.
you don't have to be like, all right, we're gonna go to this roller coaster, then we're gonna do this. Then no. You could keep it cool and simple. Sometimes the most simplest things, like we just said, are the most enjoyable. It's you.
Yeah.
It's how you make that. The environment's not gonna do it for you if the company's not good.
That's
So
true.
like she's not gonna have she can be in a very fun environment, but if the company sucks, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be whatever. But if you're a good company, it doesn't matter the environment she's in. She's gonna have a good time. So it all depends on you. So now I kind of want to get into like where to take them on the date. Like what are good ideas and what are some things maybe to stay away from. And I know you mentioned you stay away from restaurants, like going out to eat for dinner. I have my reason as to why I do it too, but what's your reason?
So my reason for avoiding restaurants is
For the first date.
for the first date. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually you can take them out to eat, but when it's fresh and new, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First date. One, it creates a little bit of an overinvestment. Not every girl you take out on a date, you're either A, gonna smash or hook up with, or B, you're gonna go on a second date with. If that's
or maybe you're even still like her afterwards.
Yeah, because as much as like she can lose interest, bro. I've been on a date where I've lost interest, and I was like, damn, I gotta bail on this shit. Like, anyways, my reasons for not taking girls to restaurants on the first date is, one, I think it's an overinvestment too soon, right? It's very easy for her to take advantage of you and say, you know what? Yeah, I'll go on that date. But she knows it's going to be a free plate of really good pasta or something like that. And two, it's really basic. It's you want to stand out in a very natural way. How many guys are asking girls out to dinner, right? At a certain time, maybe, yeah, that was a cool thing to do, right? But we're far past that time because now everybody knows what everybody does. Like, you take a girl out on a date, all her friends are going to know immediately before it even fucking happens. So now enough conversation around that, it's like, oh man, yeah, like dinner, yeah, she might go, but your chances of moving forward past that, at least to me, aren't going to be too high.
Yeah, for me, the first date especially, more than anything, I try to avoid going out for dinner, just because, one, like you said, it's an over investment. I don't even know if I'm actually gonna like this girl, so why am I gonna go crazy? I keep it nice and simple. Number two, it can be a little awkward, right? Because you're meeting somebody for the first time, or you're on a date with them for the first time, then you're eating in front of them. No one wants to come off as a slob, or like you eat so much. You want to come off as messy, none of that stuff. So then it could create a little bit of an awkward vibe. Three, you're eating and trying to talk at the same time, so your conversation is a little limited. And then, yeah, like I said, just the over investment. Like, right, the first date isn't like, okay, is this girl gonna be my wife or not? No, it's okay. Let me feel this girl out. Let me see what her mind is like. What are her morals, values, all those things. Depending what your purpose for going on that first date is, right? Because for some people it might just be to smash. For some people it's like, okay, I'm trying to find a girl. Either way, I just avoid the restaurant for the first date. That's why I avoid the restaurant first date. Alternatives to that I like to do is before I get into that, anything that's gonna be an overinvestment, I don't do. Like, I'm not gonna go super romantic on the first date. I'm not gonna set up like romantic picnics. I'm not gonna go above and beyond. I don't know you. You don't know me. Let's first figure each other out. If I see you as being somebody that's worth that, then I'll do it. But first, you have to prove to me that you're worth all my resources.
Yeah. So real quick before we move on from that, what you just said right there is very important. Being romantic is not a bad thing. I actually think to an extent it's a little necessary, but very calculated, very time and place to be like romantic. Yeah. But it's something that has to be earned. I don't think if you're just genuinely just trying to go out and maybe hook up, I don't think romance is the best way to go. It's something that's more like you're trying to move past that. You're trying to, like, maybe you've seen this girl a few times and you want to date her, then you can introduce some romantic shit.
Yeah.
But you want to be very careful because the thing with romance, and at least in my experience, is it used to be the entrance to everything after at a point in time, but now it's that you've already gotten there. So if you're romantic with a girl too early, she's gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute, like
Exactly.
this is a little too much, like whatever. Like it actually has the backwards effect if you bring out your romantic side too early, which, like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think if you do it too early, or if you do it with a girl that you're not trying to take serious, if you're doing it with a girl you're just trying to hook up with, I think you're doing it wrong. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's something that has to be earned.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason for it, like, in reality, like, I personally, as a guy, agree that, like, yeah, I would like to be super romantic and do all this thing, but I also know from experience that does not work.
Yeah.
Because it gives off that, like, simpy vibe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's just like he's too nice. That you're too nice. It comes off as. And for some reason, they just don't like that. I don't know why. I'm not a woman, so I can't tell you why. But they just don't like that, which is why I try not to go that way. Now, when he's saying, like, you don't have to be that, like, try not to go too romantic, it's not saying that you have to be a douche or a dick.
Yeah.
It's just you don't have to bring the big bouquet of flowers, set up the nice, beautiful picnic with the wine, the beautiful, like, you can go that route if that's for you. I personally don't recommend it for a first date, especially, or like first 1 to 3 dates or something like that, until you like really start to get to know her.
Until you're in a relationship, I say.
Yeah, even then, because like he said, and it could sound bad, like, oh, she needs to earn it, but it's not a bad thing. It's just she needs to prove herself worthy enough. The same way you have to prove yourself worthy to her for her to keep going on dates with you, or hook up with you, or whatever the case may be. You need to prove. She needs to prove herself worthy to you too. You can't just give it out for no reason, right? There has to be equal exchange of value, and that's, I think, where simping becomes a thing. When you're giving things but you're not getting an equal exchange of value in return, then you become a simp. Yeah. But when there's an equal exchange of value, then it's fine. Like, you can do it. And I think too many people get an unfair exchange of value. Like, they're giving a lot and getting a little in return, and they keep giving a lot hoping for more in return, but you're never going to get that in return. You have to give a little, and then once they prove themselves worthy of more of your resources, then you start providing more of your resources and take it that route. Now, what I was going to say before too, like another alternative, for like first dates, instead of going out to eat, I'm over 21, right? If you're over 21, I think this is a good way too. Some girls don't like it, some girls do. My experience, I haven't had bad ones, unless they told me they don't drink, then I just do something else. But it's like going out for drinks. I'll tell somebody, hey, I could pick you up at like 8:00. We'll go to a bar. When I say bar, it's more like a restaurant that has a bar you can sit at. I go somewhere nice, not like a dive bar. I'll go somewhere nice, sit at the bar, have a couple drinks, talk, and just engage in conversation. Maybe I'll order an appetizer just to keep us munching on something on the side. But I'm sitting here, she's sitting right here, so we're close to each other. It's not like there's a big table separating us like this. Like, we're much closer. I can make more eye contact. I can get closer to her. She could get closer to me. We can have more dialogue, get more playful.
You can break the touch barrier.
Yeah, we could get more playful, crack jokes, bump each other. You know, like, just you can create more comfort that way. Intimacy. Yeah, and intimacy as well. So for me, I typically like to go the drinks route unless they don't drink. Now, I know you like this one a lot. You put me onto this one, which it depends on your geographic location. Mm-hmm. Like, for us right now, it's winter. We cannot do this at all. But during the summertime, it's perfect. During the summertime is the thing I do the most is, like you said, walking dates.
Oh, don't underestimate the power of a fucking walking date. And you want to know something? When I first went on a walking date, it was because I was going on a date and I was fucking broke. Like, I was like, damn, bro, like, I'm taking this girl out. Like, I don't even know how much I can spend and shit. And I was like, yo, what's something that I could do that's cheap, right? And then, fortunately so, the original plan that I had was to go to a restaurant, but then that was closed. And I was like, fuck, I don't know financially, like, whatever. And I was like, yo, let's just go down. Obviously, I'm in Jersey. Let's just go down to Hoboken and just walk. Yeah. Right? We walked up and down the pier, had great conversation. And then that's when I realized something. And I was like, walking dates are so powerful because it's something that forces you to talk. And not just you, like you and her. And rule this should be in the commandments of dating. Girls love to talk about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That's my little secret. I ask questions that they reveal things. It sounds bad, but like they say things about themselves. And then like they say, oh, I really like this. Oh, cool. What do you like about it? Then I just start asking them questions about it. And then they start talking, and then you realize they'll actually get more comfortable because you're showing that you're interested in their life. And then before they know it, they'll realize, wow, I don't know nothing about this guy. And then they become super interested in you.
Mysteriousness is
I'm giving out free game. It might bite me in the ass if somebody finds this episode. But yeah, then it gives off you come off as a mystery now, because at the end of the day, they're like, wait, I like barely even know this person, but they know so much about me. And then now they want to hang out again because they want to know so much about you. So now you've won that second date just off that first one. So now setting up the second one's even easier. But I do like walking dates as well. I started doing it this summer. Some of the best dates I had were walking dates because we're walking, right? Again, I'll go by the water, wherever there's a view, just walk, talk. I'll ask questions. They ask me questions, whatever. We have good conversation, and they just start to feel a lot of comfort. And they know, okay, it's just walking date. He's not looking for anything after, maybe. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't. But anyways, either way, what I'm trying to say is you build that comfort through the walking date, and they're like, okay, like that was like a cool, nice date. I got really comfortable with him. I was able to express myself to him. Like he actually listened to me, asked me questions about and you build that rapport. So now when the second date comes, you be like, oh, let's go out for drinks. Boom. Now you're at the bar. Conversation. She's already open to talking to you. Everything becomes so much smoother and easier after that. So for me, I like walking dates a lot. I just can't do them now because it's freezing outside. It's like 30 degrees. But if you're in a geographic location where it's warm, I advise every first date is, okay, wherever there's a view, anything, let's go there and let's just have a nice walk. Walk around town. If you don't have any views, maybe let's walk around the main city area or town area. Maybe walk around a little bit, stop at a Starbucks or a coffee shop, a cafe, have like something to eat, a drink, sit down, talk a little more, and then boom, that's it. So I think those are I think that's the way to go.
And so real quick, I want to preface this. Earlier, I said, especially if it's her first time doing something like that, as 10 girls, hey, you ever been on a walking date?
For a first date.
For a first date. Like, just in general, just like, yo, you ever been on a walking date? And this is a girl you haven't taken out on the first date yet, right? I promise you 9 and 10 are going to be like, no.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because a majority of guys are taking girls out to dinner.
They're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, or to the movies, which, oh my God, I swear, if you're watching this and you take a girl to the fucking movies, you don't deserve pussy.
Yeah, don't ever take somebody to the movies on the first date. Or even the first 3, 4, 5 days. Don't do it. Wait till you like have that comfort already. Then you can do that. But for the first date, never go to the movies. It's awkward. Think about it. You can't
talk.
Exactly. That's the whole point of going on the date is to get to know them. You're watching a movie. You can't talk. What are you you're watching the movie. So you can't even talk. You can't. So it's not optimal. It's not the way to go. And I've heard many women say like they don't like that either. They rather flake than go on the movie date. It's not because they don't want to watch a movie with them. It's just because defeats the purpose of going on the date. We're going on a date to get to know each other. How can we get to know each other if we're watching a movie? So I don't recommend that either. I'm trying to think like if you're under 21, like what to do. Because when I was under 21, I learned, that's when I started learning this.
Yeah.
Because I realized I was doing certain things and I was like, oh, wait, this is not working. But then I became over 21 and then I had different alternatives. I definitely one of them is going on walking dates. You could definitely do that under 21.
Walking dates. You can go hatchet throwing. You can... Honestly, this is going to be a little hit or miss, an arcade, if there's one in your area. Like a Dave & Buster's kind of thing. I'm not totally against that because you're going to open the door for competitiveness and like banter and things like that. I'm freestyling off the top, so some of these might not make sense. But what else is there?
You go on, again, depends. It's more like a walking date, but maybe like a little hike. But that one you might have to wait because like first day go on a hike is a bit sus.
Yeah, that's a different level of comfort. But that's not a bad second date. But like you said before about real quick, just to tie it all back together, if you give her a really good experience and she divulges information to you and she enjoys and she's like, oh my God, I had such a good time. I don't know shit about this guy though. Guess what? Whatever you suggest as the second date, the chances of her being willing to do it and actually wanting to, not just because it's available, like the chances go through the roof.
Yeah.
If you give a girl a really good first date, she's going to want the second date. And that's the thing. Understand, getting the first date is the hardest part. Now, if you're decent and you don't fuck that up, it's pretty easy to get a second date. Mm-hmm. Just don't be too much of a douchebag, right? Because I'm a little bit of a dickhead on dates. Like, I definitely like banter and like to poke fun and make
banter.
fun.
I think banter is a good thing though. I think to an extent, right? Because like you want to banter with them, like, and they like it too. But you don't want to go over the top with it. It's like you got to find the right balance. Like, oh, this is like just enough where it's like you're saying enough banter, you're doing enough banter where she's like, this fucking guy, but it's like in a good way. Yeah. It's not, fuck this guy. You know, it's like it's different, but you got to find a healthy balance. But I think banter is good. Definitely be playful.
Yeah, and also something that's really important. And it's not something you consciously do, but people pick up on. You have to be willing to talk a certain way where they know you're not afraid to lose them, right? Like when you're trying to calculate every single word you say, it's very unattractive. It seems very filtered. It seems very, this person's not confident enough to like just be themselves. Yeah, like that's another thing. Like when we say these things, you want to do them in a natural way. And I get it. You're probably watching this like, how the fuck do I do something I've never done before in a natural way?
It just takes time.
It does take time and practice, and you practice in your day-to-day life. Like fucking 39, I think like 35 episodes ago, I said like I wanted to get better at talking to people, right? So how did I do that? I just started trying to force conversations with strangers because it peels the uncomfortable and the awkwardness from it. Yeah. That was me practicing. And honestly, every day, every person you talk to is practice, truth be told. But just get comfortable with being yourself and being yourself in a way that can be attractive to other people. And somebody might hear that and be like, well, you shouldn't live your life to be attractive for other people. No, but you can improve yourself too. Like, you can improve your vocabulary. You can improve the way you converse and letting people talk. And like, remember, at the end of the day, talking is majority listening. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're talking to a girl, you should be listening to her more than you're speaking. But you should be speaking in a way that's triggering her to talk more. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The way you should respond is, it's in a way where, like you said, it's probing. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I know you know what probing is from. That's where I learned the word. But it's probing. It's like, oh, he's asking me things that I can't just say yes, no, I don't know, maybe. It's okay. I need to tell you an answer, but I need to also explain why this is the answer. And when you could do that a couple of times before you know it, an hour passed. Mm-hmm. You could do it off like 3 questions, especially if they're like, okay, wait, but no, let me explain this. No, because this is it. That's it. Now they're comfortable. Once they start doing that, you know they're comfortable. And now you can start getting playful. You can start doing the little banter. Yeah. So I'd be like, okay, I see what you're doing. And like play little jokes and stuff. Like something for me that happens all the time is they'll always ask me, oh, what's my birthday? And I immediately know why they're asking. And I'll start laughing. I'll be like, why, are you trying to judge me already? And they'll be like, no, I didn't even know about that stuff. I just like to ask. I'm like, I tell them my birthday, and I get the same response every time I tell them my zodiac sign. I'm like, why? What? They'll do like a little face that they don't realize they're doing. And I pick up on it, and I start laughing. I'm like, why? What does it mean? They're like, oh, like, I don't really know what it means, to be honest. But, like, I just know about my own. And I was like, you know what it means, but it's okay. We could change the topic. Yeah. They'll start laughing, and they'll be like, no, I don't. But they know that I know that I know. So it's like a little playful banter.
I don't recommend this to everybody, but whenever the zodiac signs comes up with me on dates and everything like that, I always say the same thing. and I always say, "Oh, so space racism," and the looks on their faces, because you can attest. I say outlandish shit. Like I just talk very vulgar. Like my jokes are very vulgar. Like so in general, but that's just who I am. But I've molded that to like people where people like know how to laugh at it. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I say space racism is because they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I'll be like, "Nah, like look, you're based off of the stars. You're gonna find a reason to not like me, right? Like, hear me out. Like, sounds like racism to me based off of some signs." And they're gonna, and then the basic thing to do is be like, "No, no, 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 no." But now she will be pitted in a corner where it's like, oh my God, like
she's engaged now in the conversation.
But it's something that sounds so dumb, but low key makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And every time I've said that,
and it's a little comical too.
Yeah. It's always followed by like laughter and what the fuck. But then that's what it is. You're creating laughter. You're creating thought.
Yeah, you're creating the comfort.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it also, something with me is, it also tells them that I'm not afraid to say dumb shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not Mr. Perfect on a date. Because when I try to be Mr. Perfect, I fuck up. Yeah. Right? So you just gotta be you. Like,
yeah, like you said before, you gotta go in with the mindset that you're not afraid to lose them.
Yep.
Because I'll say that for myself. When I go in the mindset that like, whatever happens. Like if she doesn't fuck with me after this, okay, like I could care less kind of thing. That's when I'm my most self and my most natural. And that's honestly when I have the best dates versus like, oh, I'm trying to be good, because like I even had it happen recently where I went on a date and I was like trying to say the right responses. And I immediately knew after the day, I was like, what the hell was I doing? Like, that was not me. Everything I normally do, I just threw it out the window and I was like, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Fortunately, it still worked, but I realized it and I was like, whoa. And I was wondering, like during the date, like there was some moments of awkwardness, like some silence and stuff. And I was like, damn, what the hell? Like I haven't had this experience in a while where like I'm talking, just suddenly goes quiet. You look around. It's like, oh, so what? And I was like, fuck, what am I doing right now? But eventually I realized and I picked it back up and it worked out. But I forgot where I was going with that. What was the main point of that?
I don't remember. but I can bounce off of what you said. Like, sometimes the silences are going to happen. Yeah. It's not the end of the world. Typically, when there's a silence, it means that I have asked usually like a closed-ended question. But this is the thing about silence, too. I've been on a date. I'm telling you, on a railing, by the water, girl next to me, dead silent, right? And what I've done is just looked around. I've basked in the silence because that you know what that tells her? Oh shit, like he's not uncomfortable right now. Like it's not awkward for him. Yeah, let me not be awkward, right? That's true. And you will realize typically they will break the silence, and when in time like that girl in that moment broke the silence, I was just like, oh nah, I was taking in the view. But if you want to be the one to break the silence, I like to ask deep questions on dates. Like, I'm not the, oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, what school do you go to? Yeah. Like, I'm like, so you have both your parents? All right, cool. Which one do you get along with more? Who's your best friend like that? What did you learn from them the most? Like, and obviously way better said than this. I'm just freestyling right now. Mm-hmm. But I've asked a question like that. Like, oh, like, you have any siblings? And she, yeah, brother, sister. Oh, like, which one of them is your best friend? And I lead with the fact that like I'm a fucking nerd. And I'll be like, you know, typically brothers and sisters are like some of your first best friends. Like, who was yours? And on a date, when I asked that question, she started divulging information about herself. She was like, yeah, like my brother because this, and this, right? Mm-hmm. And then she started peeling off into that, and that led why she went to school there. And next thing I know, like, the conversation just flows, and I'm not even really talking, but I know everything about this girl. And then she's like, wait, but where did you go to school? Yeah. And I'll be like, don't worry about that. That's top secret.
It all goes back. Yeah. You got to get her talking about herself.
It's not what you say.
I remember where I was going to go before. I was going to bring up the example of just like how me actually trying was biting me in the ass versus me not trying. And how when I go with the mindset, like, I don't care. Like, not that I don't care, but like, I'm not afraid to lose this person. I don't even know you. like that, dates go way better. And it might be tough for some people because some people don't have many options. So they go in with the mindset like, oh, I'm finally getting a chance. Like, I don't want to fuck this up. But you can't go that way. You're putting way too much pressure on yourself. You're bound to fuck up. Just go in, be yourself, have a good time. Whatever happens, happens. Fuck it. If she doesn't fuck with you after, on to the next. And if she does fuck with you, cool. We'll see where it keeps going. And that's it. No need to put all that extra pressure on yourself. Because the same way you feel nervous, she's probably just as nervous too. So
very, very good fucking point. Yeah, if the date doesn't work, which it's gonna happen, maybe the date doesn't work because you fucked it up. Maybe the date doesn't work because she fucked it up, or she's just a shitty person, or maybe to her you're a shitty person. It's happened to me. Got called a misogynist on a date one time. Did I ever tell you that?
I don't think so.
Or she?
We'll save it for off camera.
Yeah. Anyways, we started talking, and she asked about relationship, and I was just like, honestly, like in my relationship, like I'm the decision maker. Like I don't like to abide by other people's rules, and that led as to like why the guy should lead, and she was like, that's awfully misogynistic. We did not go on a second date. We were trying to schedule a second date, but
yeah, that was the end of it.
Yeah,
but
that's where it started to lose steam. Anyways, I lost my train. Oh, if the date doesn't work, right, it's gonna happen. Understand this: you're gonna go home, you're gonna open your phone, you're gonna go on Instagram or TikTok or fucking Twitter, and there's gonna be girls. And you're going to go to Target, there's going to be girls. You're going to go to Dunkin', there's going to be girls. You're going to go to school or work, there's going to be girls. Like, don't stress. Like, this is not the last woman on the fucking planet.
Yeah.
Like, there's another 4 billion of her, right? Like, it's okay if the date doesn't work. You just take what you can, learn from it. Understand, maybe you said something that you didn't have to say. You could have said something better. Or understand, maybe, all right, maybe I shouldn't bring up, a misogynistic conversation on a date, right? Unless you like, I'm not even gonna get into that, but just learn from it, be better for the next one. Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna learn from the shit that goes really well. You learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
Like at the 100%. End of the day.
100%. So, just real quick before we end up ending this off, before we continue on with our sequence, one question I want to ask you, what you do, because I kind of fall in a gray area. Sometimes I used to do this, then I stopped doing it. I haven't done it in a long time. So for me, I stopped doing it. But I want to know what you do. And it's after the first day, whatever, let's say you take her back home, you're back home, let's say the date's over. Do you hit the girl up right away and say like I know some people like to text and say like, oh, like, had a great time tonight. Like, we should definitely do that again. Do you like to say that? Do you like for the girl to say that? Or do you just leave it at blank? And then when you want to start up a conversation or chill again, you just hit her up normal. Yeah.
So I know there's people that say, oh, you shouldn't. And then there's people that say you should. Me personally, I text them like towards the end of the day. Like if I dropped her off at 9 p.m., right? When I get home and after I shower and everything, like I'll let it sit. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I let it sit is in that 3 hours between me dropping her off and me showering and doing everything, she's going to be sitting there waiting for a text. So I'll let it sit. I have found that letting it sit for a little bit, either they text first, but I'm not sitting there like just like, oh, I need her to text me first or anything like that. Like I just send a text like, hey, it was cool seeing you. Like, hope you had a good time. Like, it was cool. Like, something light. And just very simple and cordial. And typically, they'll be like, oh, yeah, thank you. Had a good time, too. Like, let's do it again. Or they're just like, thank you, whatever. But I don't really text after that. I let them, after that, see if they want to. If the date went well and I know I piqued enough interest, they will text. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the day after or 2 days after, they'll text and just be like, hey, or something like that. Because remember, after the first date, you've already you got yourself into the space.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So before, when I was younger, I used to text first, and I made that mistake too. Where sometimes I would continue the conversation afterwards. I'd stop doing that. I stopped texting in general. So like after the date, I won't text them at all. Just drop them off. And either two things will happen. Either they'll text me first at some point, whether it's a little bit later or the next day. Just be like, hey, had a good time last night. Like, thank you for the date, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll be like, yeah, cool. Had a good time too. No problem. We should definitely do it again sometime. And I just leave it at that. Whatever they say, if they say something back, I'll just heart it or like it or leave it at that. Or the other thing that happens is they just don't text at all, and I won't text at all. And then I'll just leave it at that, and then I'll let a couple of days go by, whatever. If I feel like I want to hang out with them again, then I'll hit them up. Or sometimes what happens is then they'll hit me up and try to start conversation. Sometimes they're not very good conversation starters, but I get the hint of why they're hitting me up. Yeah. Maybe they want to hang out or whatever the case may be. So I stopped doing it for me personally. I don't know how I feel about like people, like if a guy should hit her up immediately first. I think maybe not. I think you should wait for them to hit you up first or just don't hit them up at all. Yeah. That's the route I go. That's the route I like to do. But yeah, I don't know. I like to hear somebody else's opinion on it too.
Yeah, see, I don't disagree with you. So I actually think for most guys, that's probably the right way to do it, is not texting them. Me personally, I just do it no matter what. Like, this is where, for me, the two kind of fall in line. Regardless of what they say, it's just a heart. Like, I'll just heart it or thumbs up it, right? Yeah. And then it still gives that effect of like, oh shit, like,
did he have a good time or not?
Yeah, like why isn't he why isn't he pushing the conversation? Like, you gotta understand this about girls. Even some of the most hit girls that you know, guys are trying to talk to them, right? There are guys forcing conversations with them. When you are not the guy forcing the conversation with them, they notice that and they're like, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
And then that piques interest. So something simple like, yeah, you know what? Like, hey, it was cool. Like, take care. Like,
yeah. And
heart.
Yep, exactly. And maybe to some people this might come off as like, oh, that's so childish, whatever. Keep doing your way, see where that gets you. I'm telling you off experience. I seen it not only with me but with other people. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is just the way this is just the way it works. At the end of the day, it's one big game, right? It's a big psychological game. One person is trying to have the upper hand on the other. That's the truth to it. That's the reality to it.
It's the most
either you're trying to have an upper hand on her or she's trying to have an upper hand on you, one way or another. That's just the way it works, whether you want to accept it or not. So you can say it's childish. You can say it's not childish. I don't think it's childish. It's just reality. It's just the way it is. And again, if you don't agree with it, that's completely fine. You can do things your way. We're not saying you have to be this way, but we're just saying this is what works. And you do whatever you want with that information. So, okay.
Were you about to end it?
Yeah, I was about to wrap it up.
Real quick, one thing I want to say. Little tip for the guys. This has never harmed me on a date, right? But when you're walking with a girl, whether you're walking to the restaurant or walking just because it's a walking date, this might not need to be said, but based off of my experience with girls, I guess it kind of does need to be said. When you're walking with her, move her away from the street.
Oh, yeah.
Just move her away from the street. Put her on the side of the sidewalk and you towards the street.
You'll thank me later. I always do that. I always have to be closer to the street. Yeah. And if I'm not, I'll literally just like move them around. Yeah. And I'll just keep walking. And sometimes they won't say nothing. And sometimes they'll be like, what was that for? So yeah, it's a habit. Or if I'm in a bar or whatever, wherever the door is, my chest and my face is facing towards the door.
You're facing the entrance.
Yeah. I'm always facing the entrance no matter where I sit. Whatever it is I'm doing. So that too. And I think you should do that regardless if you're out with a girl or not. But it's just overall
like
safety.
Gentleman rules. Well, for me, gentleman rules.
Yeah.
And for you, safety
as well.
At the end of the day, if she's sitting facing the entrance, you're trusting her to be your eyes and ears. You fucked up.
Yeah, because she's looking at you for security. Yeah. Obviously, for a big reason too, the majority of men are far bigger than women and stronger as well. So I don't think if a 6'2" robber came in, she's going to be square up and start throwing hands. She's going to expect you to do that. So it'd be more beneficial if you were expecting that versus getting hit in the back of the head for that.
Yeah.
Not saying that will happen, but it just shows
security and protection.
Yeah, exactly.
Awareness.
Security, protection, awareness, all that stuff. It shows that you're on top of things, even if they don't realize it. It's a subliminal thing. But anyways, yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. We're gonna continue the sequence. We could get into I don't know. Comment down below what you want to hear next. Do you want to hear like after the first day, like continuing dates, things like that? I feel like I don't know. I feel like from the first day is just the hardest part. After that, you kind of get the ball rolling. Maybe you have questions like certain things happen on dates, certain things happen in conversation, or you thought things were going so good one way, and then all of a sudden she ghosts you, or things like that.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
We could talk about that in the sequence, like why a girl might ghost somebody. Comment down below if you want to hear that, or we could get into more relationship stuff too, like how long to vet her out, when to know she's the one. Like if she sleeps with you on the first day, is that a green flag, red flag? How should you approach that kind of situation? Which I have an opinion on for that as well. So we could we're gonna keep this sequence going regardless. I just want to know: do you want to know about being ghosted first, or do you want us to get right into relationships and we do that down the line? So comment down below what you think, which one you prefer to hear first. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Again, share with your friends, turn their post notifications on, all that good stuff. And
we're dropping weekly game right now.
Yeah, right now we're going in. So 39 weeks in, don't plan on stopping. So again, comment down below what you want to hear next. That being said, Lost Boyz Podcast, we out of here.
Peace.